This week on Edge, we visit Masters of Motion Capture Flying Circus, we check out the HP Spectre X360 Ultrabook, and we see how science concepts are brought home to learners at the recent Science for Resilience Expo. I'm with Ronald Henry, who is the CEO at Flying Circus. Now, Ronald, what is the business strategy behind providing all of the tech that you do as a business?
The idea was to use motion capture technology to do all the heavy lifting in the production of children's animation. So basically we get about 5 to 10 times more out per day than in traditional studio. So that it's really leveraging the technology to be more productive.
Ron, movies like Avengers, Age of Ultron, huge fight scene filmed in Johannesburg, is that motion capture?
Yes and no. On the actual set, you would have a live action actor doing the stand-in for the Hulk, for example. So that would give you eye line and timing and everything. Afterwards, they would go into the studio, do the motion capture, and then they would apply the motion capture to the CG model of the Hulk. So there is a combination of keyframe animation combined with the motion capture. It's the same way we're doing it even on the kids show that we're working on, Silly Seasons, is the actors perform the motion capture as an entire scene, and then we work on top of the motion capture and we add in a little bit more emotional or just a little bit more exaggerated movement in order to sell the fact that it's animated and make it more appealing.
You want me to what? Look, it's easy. All you have to do is listen to the music and try not to fall over.
Walk up and down, change. Walk up and down, change. Walk up and down, change.
Yeah!
And all this while everyone's just looking at me?
And clapping and cheering.
Yeah!
Isn't that wonderful?
Well, I'm in the hot seat with Andre van der Merwe, who's the producer here at Flying Circus. Now, judging by these characters, you've got a very interesting job. Tell me more about Silly Season.
Silly Seasons, it is a comedy and it's aimed at 8 to 12-year-old girls. And it's designed in a way where the 4 main characters, the 4 girls that you see here, they all represent a season within a fantasy world where they are the only humans in this world, and all the other characters are anthropomorphic animals or plants, walking, talking animals and plants, and they get up to silly stuff. Really, it's a comedy. It's a comedy for kids.
Now, these are actually the very first prototypes that you had done in 3D printing.
Yes.
And it's Ginger, Summer, Daisy, Snowflake.
Yes.
Care to unpack their characters for us a little?
Ginger, she's the feisty, sporty type. She represents autumn. She's a redhead. She gets angry very quickly. Summer is the know-it-all, the teacher's pet. Daisy is very fashion conscious. She's always wanting to wear the prettiest dress. She's got the pinkest house.
She sounds like my kind of girl.
Yes. And then Snowflake, she's the instigator often for a lot of the silliness that happens in this world.
Now, I've stepped into the office, shall we say, of Martin Hagen, who's the technical director on Silly Season. Tell me more about all the lights and all the markings that we see and what's the function.
Okay, basically there's 40 cameras, and they're actually used to calculate the position of the markers on your suit. So we don't use it for filming the actors, but actually getting exactly where each point is on your suit so that it can get the motion from your body, which will then be mapped to a character to drive an animated character.
Martin, what's the pace that this is all filmed at?
We capture it at high speed to make sure that we get all the subtlety in the data, and we're capturing at 96 frames a second, which is 4 times higher than we require because we're working at 24 frames a second. So that just allows us a lot of flexibility.
All right, I see ya. Buy one, get one free. And I raise ya.
James, in terms of the difference between your characters and movement, could you demonstrate that for us?
No. Yes. Okay, so Spike's a hedgehog, and he's kind of slightly evil and dumb. So he kind of has a rounded back, and he's only actually about that high. So he, that's him, and that's as fast as he goes. That's like top speed. Really, we have to cut off his legs quite often because he can't go very fast. So yeah, just like collapse the chest, and there's his voice there. So he spends a lot of time talking to other characters who are up there. Whereas Vlad, who's a polar bear, who is that tall in real life, tends to be here, and it's a lot of chest, and he doesn't move too fast, because if he does, then he looks like he's running in comparison to the smaller characters. And yeah, so you can see like different resonances in the voice, different body position. It just gives the animators a lot more to work with than if I was just doing it like standing normally. The whole point is that we do give them that extra physical value so that they don't have to do it, so they're also starting from a step ahead.
I'm with George Hlongwane, who is an animator at Flying Circus. Now, tell me exactly what a day in your life is like behind the screen.
Every day is quite different. Like at the moment, we're busy with the environment stuff, where we're basically designing the sets for our characters, where everything has to take place, basically. So the way we are doing it is we work on the whole environment, whereby it's actually very extensive, so that it can be reused over and over again. So yeah.
As an animator, what are some of the challenges on a technical side that you might go through in a day?
Basically, since we work with mocap a lot, the main challenge is to actually make sure that the scale that the guys in motion capture uses is the same as the one that we use in 3D. So that whenever you see a character holding a cup, that cup actually fits the character well. If the character is sitting on the table, everything has to fit proportionally, so that the puzzle comes together at the end.
Camilla, can't we just...
Not another word out of you. We will talk about this when we get home.
But, my love...
Pick them up. We are leaving.
Of course, my little cupcake.
Now, Alicia, we know that Daisy is a very human character, but you also have to slip into an animal character. Tell us more.
So, Camila is French, and she is a little bit more exaggerated than Daisy, and she talks with very big hand gestures, and obviously the French accent lends itself to this. So that's it.
Oui, oui. Daniel, talk us through the world that we've actually just entered. Really?
Okay, at the moment we're currently standing in Daisy's lounge. That's Daisy over there. There are Daisy and Spike are sitting next to each other on her very fashionable chaise lounge, her couch. And this is our Daisy's doll, which we've got two, which opens both ways. So basically this is the volume of the mocap studio. And you are in the scene that we're doing, if you, as we play it out, you notice that Daisy speaking, acting down over here, and James, who plays Spike, is acting up over there, because they're models in Sillyville land. Spike is about this small, and Daisy is the size of a normal, 12-year-old girl. And action.
Okay, look, Spike, I don't know about all of that, but what I do know is that you need a badge. I mean, you can't be the sheriff if you don't look like one.
Sheriff?
Yeah, well, that's what you are, aren't you?
Yeah, I suppose I am. The sheriff.
Well, maybe not like sheriff, more like detective sheriff.
Yeah, detective sheriff.
Here, I made you a badge. I really hope it helps you find camp faster.
Oh, wow. Secret detective sheriff.
T-pose.
Daniel, we noted that there's a T-pose that is done top and bottom
You're
of
going to be doing that
something.
just now. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What is it all for?
Just to make sure that the system recognizes your skeleton and that there's no kind of obscuring your markers, and that it has a clean way to access who you are, what skeleton you're driving. So it's a good way of keying into the scene so that the rest of the data that we get from the motion capture makes sense later on.
Gives T-junction a whole nother meaning.
Totally. Cool. So as your visual reference for Camilla, we've had an artist create this. Basically, this is the concept design of her. These are her different states, and this gives you a sense of how her body moves. That is your kind of base level that you're going to go back to, is this kind of flamboyant, floaty, artistic type. Then, because we've got this whole set, and because we want to make the data that we send up to the animators as good as possible, we're going to use this as a physical reference point. So you're going to open the door, prance into the scene kablump, and then announce to Vlad, who is the patisserie owner who makes the hot chocolate, where are my hot chocolates? Yeah?
Vlad, where are my hot chocolates?
That's beautiful. Cool. Should we go for a rehearsal?
Yes, please.
Cool. And standing by, and action.
Vlad, where are my hot chocolates?
T-pose. Cut. That is beautiful. After that T-pose as a curveball, you were made for this.
Thanks. Well, you're a good director.